Well, okay, yeah, the bank can do it as long as the executor gets the letters testamentary and goes and approves it. Well, okay. Hi, Jeff Marsachi, the Plain English Attorney. Welcome to the video. If you can, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you haven't so you can keep getting this great information. Today we're going to answer a question that showed up on Reddit r/estate planning, and it's about setting up with a bank auto payments and stuff that will happen even after you've passed on. And the question sounds pretty simple, but the answer really isn't. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Can you leave post-death instructions with a bank? Can a person instruct a bank to still honor pre-scheduled auto payments upon their death? For instance, suppose someone arranged a one-time payment to be made on a specific date, then died before that date. If the bank learns of their death prior to payment, would such pre-death instructions guarantee payment without involvement of an executor? Now, we're going to go a little bit further because the same person posted a similar question, and it kind of clarifies what they're really getting at. Do auto-pay debits still pay out after someone dies? Suppose an individual sets up and approves a one-time auto payment for a future date and dies before the scheduled payment date. If the bank learns of the individual's death prior to the payment date, will the bank freeze the account and not make the payment, or is it considered a prior debit and be honored? Well, this is, like I said, it's a lot more complicated question. Now, some of the advice that was put out on the thread was, well, okay, yeah, the bank can do it as long as the executor gets the letters testamentary and goes and approves it. Well, okay, that clarifying question in the first slide that I showed you was without an executor getting involved. So it kind of sounds like he wants to avoid court complications, and that's smart. And the reason is, you can't just have an executor walk in, here's the will, I'm the executor, go ahead and do this auto payment. Whoa, wait a minute. We don't know you're the executor. You're just named in the will. The court hasn't approved you. You need to go and file the application with the court, get the letters testamentary, and then when you bring it down to us, then we can follow instructions. But the way it's going to have to work is you're going to have to set up an estate account, move the money into the estate account, and then you can authorize a payment to come out. Whoa, okay. So now suddenly it's this huge thing. The fact is, once somebody dies and there's an account in their name, banks are typically going to just freeze the account. That's it. Because they don't want to end up having money paid out for someone who died because the account could have gotten hacked. There could be some fraud going on. It could be other family members. Oh, I got his debit card. Let me go down and take the money out, even though they're not the ones who are actually the beneficiaries. So banks will kind of shut things down when they know an account holder has died and there's no one else on the account. That's the way they do things. So how can you do this without the court being involved? Well, I get into that in the next slide when I gave my advice and information. The bank isn't going to honor those instructions after you pass on for an account in your name. Now, this is the option. You can put instructions in a last will and testament for the executor to carry out, but then they are dealing with probate and some potential delays. Like I said, the executor has to make that happen. but they have to do that in the whole overall context of starting probate and getting a hold of that account. Now, you could potentially just put someone else on the account and as a joint owner with the right of survivorship, and they can make that happen, but then they get all the money. So what if you've got 3 kids? This payment that you want is going to happen, like he said in the post, one-time payment, but he wants everything else to get divided among the 3 kids. Oh, we'll put all 3 kids on the account. Okay, then what's the guarantee that it's actually going to happen, or someone's going to say, oh, it's coming out of your share or it's coming out of my share? They're supposed to just divide it equally among the 3. No. There isn't something extraordinarily simple other than the advice that I end up giving here. If instead you had a revocable living trust, the account was owned by the trust, and the payment was already set up, then your death isn't going to impact the payment. If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel. Now, the reason it's not going to impact the payment is because the account doesn't shut down when you die because, quote, you don't own it. The trust does. Well, you have 100% control of it while you're alive and competent. When you're no longer alive, the next trustee steps in, but it's still the trust that owns the account, and those instructions are still in place, and those auto payments are still going to happen because your death doesn't affect it. If you think of it like a corporation, someone can own 100% of the stock. They can be the CEO and the president, and they can be the chairman, and they're the only one on the board of directors. And, it's a small business. They control everything. They die. The business doesn't shut down. Things can keep going because it's the corporation that's doing everything. It's just this person happened to be the owner of the corporation. If you pass on and you're the owner of the trust, well, those auto payments can just keep on going. It's specifically a payment to be made after your death. You can leave those instructions in your trust, and now they can be carried out by your successor trustee without the probate court being involved. Along with all of your other goals and objectives, you should consider whether or not the payment happening with as little fuss as possible is worth the cost and expense of setting up a trust. And I think this gets to just a little bit of a larger issue is, do a plan or don't. I often hear, and I'll put a link to the video, it's if you end up, you can make this account payable upon death to this person, and then I've got this other asset, and this could have this as a beneficiary, and this can have a co-owner. It's all over the place. And then if you change your goals or your plans, you've got 20, 50, 100 different things that you have to go and adjust. Well, if you've got a revocable trust, everything's in the trust. All your instructions can be in the trust. And then, I want to change the percentages. Well, you don't have to go and change 100 different accounts to change the percentages. You just change the trust, and the trust owns the accounts. Done. And I say the same thing with a will. Look, if you're not going to go and do a revocable living trust, and you're just going to do a will, okay, that means probate. But now the will is your entire plan. Don't start with, I can make this one account avoid probate and do the beneficiary designation on it and avoid probate. Yeah, but you're also skipping a lot of stuff that the will might have been effective with. I want everything to go to my 3 kids equally. But if one of the kids dies, then it's going to go to their descendants, but I'm going to have an age limit of 30 or 40 listed in the will. Well, if you just put, it's going to my children equally per stirpes. One of the kids does die before you. Oh yeah, their kids get the money, but they get it at 18 or 21, whatever's on the account. But my will says it's they have this age limit of 40. Doesn't matter. It bypassed probate, and the will ends up controlling everything. So that's why I'm typically advising, look, do this as an all or nothing. Either you want to avoid probate, do a revocable trust as your plan. I don't care about probate. All right, go ahead and do a will, but make the will your whole plan. Don't do the piecemeal, well, this account goes like this. So when you're setting up this question from this poster that you want these auto payments or a auto payment to happen after your death or to continue after your death, the easiest way is going to have a revocable living trust, have the account owned by the trust, have the auto payments set up, and leave instructions in the trust for the trustee to continue it or pay off whatever the payment is. So it's all done in the trust and therefore outside of probate. So I hope you found that information useful. Please, if you haven't subscribed or followed whatever format you're seeing this video on, please do so. It really helps us get the word out. And as I always tell my clients, and I'll tell you, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. And whatever you do, make it a great day.